welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany and welcome to the first of the 12 days of Christmas. So Merry Christmas, first of all. Second of all, I'm really excited to be doing the 12 days of Christmas yet again. This is my third year doing it, and I do this kind of in lieu of Bookmas, which is essentially the bookish version of Vlogmas, where people have bookish videos coming out every day from December 1st to December 24th. I applaud the people who do that. I don't think I could do 24 consecutive videos because dang, that is just a lot, especially during what is one of the most busy times of the year. So I prefer to do the 12 days of Christmas, which is also daily videos, but there's only 12 of them. They start on December 25th, Christmas today, and continue for 12 days. I always have so much that I want to talk about at the end of the year. I want to talk about what am I planning for next year and how was this year's reading? Like, what are my favorites? What are my least favorites? I like to rank all the classics that I read for the year, so I always have lots of really fun video ideas. And I usually only put out 2 videos a week, so doing 12 consecutive videos is totally feasible for me at the end of December because there's so much I want to chat about with you. So today's video is going to be focusing on the goals that I have for 2025 and how I feel like overall, like my thoughts and feelings on how 2024 was and things I want to change or continue in 2025. So I had this grand plan in 2024 that I was going to have less things scheduled, and there were months that I did okay with that, and then months where I'm like, oh well, no, this is fine, and piled on and had like, you know, a million buddy reads in a month that was really difficult to keep up with. This happens almost every single year where I'm like, I'm gonna do less, and then I don't do less, but I do feel like I am improving every single year and making things more manageable. However, while I didn't feel overwhelmed most months in 2024, I did really well. I think there was like April and then October were the only months that I felt like kind of overscheduled and overwhelmed with all the books that I was planning to read, all the buddy reads I had going on. Those were the only months that actually happens. But in general, I actually want to do less planning in 2025 when it comes to my reads, because I want to leave more time to be able to mood read, and I gave myself some space to do that in a few months of this year, and it was so nice to have smaller concrete TBRs and just more kind of like loosey-goosey pile of possibility plans that I wasn't reading with anyone. So if I decided I didn't want to read it, I didn't have to. If I wanted to DNF it, I could go ahead and do that. If I wanted to read something else, I could do that, and that was such a nice feeling. So I want more of that in 2025. So I am purposely scheduling less buddy reads this year and less like events that I am like officially a part of. Like, I participate every year in things like Victober and Middle Grade March and stuff like that, but like I'm not a host, so it's not the same. So I do have books that I have to read every single month. So I have an in-person book club, and I have a book for that I read every single month. And then I have my classics TBR, which is coming out soon in case you were wondering, and I have a book from that I'm going to read every single month. I always choose a book recommended to me by my patrons and vlog that for them. And then there are quite a few months that I have Patreon buddy reads. So that is like 4 books that I definitely read every single month. So on top of that, I only really want to schedule 1 or 2 buddy reads per month and then leave space open to be able to just do whatever I want. Kind of piggybacking off of that, I want to be able to read more seasonally, and that kind of goes in with like mood reading, because I started reading seasonally in the fall, and I have done that a little bit here and there. Like for me, like Victober always screams fall, but I also like took some fall recommendations from you guys and read those in the fall, and it was amazing. And then in December I've read a bunch of Christmas books, and that's been really nice. And I'm planning in January to read some kind of like cold wintry books. That doesn't mean that I want like every single book that I read to be seasonal, but it's kind of nice to read a couple of books that feel seasonal during a season. Like, I feel like it helps me lean into the season and just like soak it up more, instead of always looking to like what's coming next, like what's in the future, what are my plans for next month or next season or whatever. I feel like reading seasonally helps me to slow down and soak in the season that much more. Okay, so like more concrete plans that I have, other than just this loosey-goosey, I want to mood read, I want to read seasonally, I want to have less plans. I do have a few like concrete plans for my reading. I want to work more on series this year, and because I am going to be mostly wrapped up with Brandon Sanderson by the time I've reached the end of January. Hopefully I'll be done with Wind and Truth by then. But because of that, I did like Mist Along this past year. So I read through all the Mistborn books. I've read through all the Stormlight Archive books over the past couple of years, and I read a lot of his standalones and stuff like that. Because I've caught so much up on Cosmere stuff, I am ready to work on some other series and to be reading something other than Brandon Sanderson. No offense to Sanderson. I love him a whole bunch. That's why I've been reading him so much. But I really in particular very much want to get back to Ramen Hobb. I only read the Farseer trilogy and adored every single book, and really want to get back to more of it. So that's one of my plans, for example. And then there's a couple of other series that I have started and would like to continue, but then there's some that like I'm really interested in starting that I haven't started yet, of series I have on my shelves or things like that. And so I really want to focus on actually like completing series this year. I also want to work on reading more nonfiction. Actually, this past year I read a lot more nonfiction than normal, and that was really wonderful. I found that I really love nonfiction on audiobook because it kind of feels like a podcast, although like more detailed. So it's kind of nice to listen to it. And I've also kind of let go of the fact that like, oh, I need to annotate and soak in every single detail of a nonfiction, because I had that mindset for a really long time. And unless I was taking notes and tabbing things up and remembering everything that I read, it's like it was wasted, which is absolutely not true. It's almost like this school mentality of like, there will be a test, so I have to pay attention to all this. And that's not true. I can just read it, enjoy it, and glean the things that I glean. And if I don't remember everything about it, I can read more nonfiction on that same subject and get more well-rounded views as I go. And that's totally fine. In past years, I've wanted to read like one nonfiction a month. I want to read more than that this year. So my goal is 20 books. I could have done 24 and done like 2 a month, but there are some longer ones that I might like to do. I don't have a nonfiction TBR for this year because this is something I just want to just pick for fun. Like what do I feel like reading nonfiction right now? Do I want to read a memoir? Do I want to read like a spiritual nonfiction? Do I want to read a biography? Do I want to read something like more scientific? Like what do I want to read? And so I'm leaving this like completely open. I am absolutely not making any concrete plans for the nonfiction. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope that I do well in this. Like I'm not gonna beat myself up if I don't read 20 nonfiction, but I hope I feel motivated enough without concrete plans. I just don't wanna feel burnt out on having too many concrete plans. And the last thing is I have a video coming out tomorrow, which you will see, and it is a 40 books I'd like to read by the time I'm 40 list. And I want to read 10 of those this year. And I've already planned out which ones I'm going to read next year, so you'll see that as well. But that's something that I feel like that's like a really achievable goal. So I also have some channel goals here, and some of my channel goals actually really closely align with my reading goals. One of which is that I want to do like more themed reading vlogs, because I had so much fun doing a month-long reading vlog where I was reading your fall recommendations and having like b-roll of like fall activities or leaves falling or things like that. And then I've also done like a lot of my own version of Vlogmas in Christmas, where I just do, you know, Christmassy clips and then like just what I'm reading for the week. So it's not really Vlogmas because it's not daily, but I really enjoy that. So I want to do more themed reading vlogs, whether it's seasonally themed or whether it's like I read books in this genre and I'm vlogging it for you, or I did this and now I'm reading this. And I just want to do more themed vlogs because I really love doing vlogs. They're actually the most editing intensive videos that I do, but they're also my favorites. And so I want to kind of have some more theme and cohesion to it rather than this is just a general reading vlog of what I'm reading this week. I want it to have a little bit more direction. I also want to commit to less read-alongs and readathons that I am co-hosting. There are some that I am going to be co-hosting, like we are planning to do things like K-Tropathon again this year and things like that. Like there are some that I like help co-host that will be continuing, but there are some that I'm like not really, I don't know, like the past couple of years I've done like readathons surrounding a certain author and then had like a group read and like reading sprints and all that stuff. I'm not doing that this year, but I do want to co-host 2 Christian nonfiction read-alongs. So it feels like a Spurgeon is for the fall. Like we'll probably do another Spurgeon this fall because I just love it. We've done it the past 2 years, but I want to do another one. And I'm kind of like brainstorming. I think I have something that I probably want to do, but I kind of gotta do a little bit more figuring out when and with who kind of a situation. So that's in the works, but I want to do 2 this year because last year I just got too busy and only did 1. And if I'm hosting any read-alongs on my channel, I would love for it to be those because those are just so spiritually uplifting and edifying to many of you that you have said, but that's also really edifying and spiritually uplifting to me, and I really, really enjoy it. I also want to get better about posting more on Instagram because I do have an Instagram and I like pretty much never post like actual posts. I'll post in my stories sometimes, but I don't really post in my actual posts. I want to do that more where I am sharing posts of like, this is a favorite book. I want like my actual like feed on my page to have some posts of like books that I've really, really loved in the year that I'm reading it. So I hope to do better with that, as well as like creating more reels, maybe if they're just like currently reading or maybe they're themed. I don't know. I haven't thought too much about that, but I would like to post more on social media other than YouTube. I'd also like to host reading sprints a little bit more frequently on my channel. I think I only did it like maybe once this past year. I did it for when we did Alcott April, and I think that was the only time I hosted reading sprints the whole year. And I really enjoy reading sprints, but I do reading sprints with my Patreon once a month. We do like reading sprints on Zoom when we do our weekend reading challenge. So if that sounds like fun, you should check out my Patreon. We have a great time over there. But I'd like to do them more frequently on my channel, like maybe quarterly or something, because I don't think I can commit to doing it monthly because that just like, it adds up. And I want to make sure that I am prioritizing like my real life over my digital life and over my channel. So I don't want like my channel to just like take over my life, but I do want to do it more frequently because it's really fun to hang out with you guys, and I don't get to spend a lot of time with you guys most of the time, like in the comments, sure, but it's so much more fun when it's live. So I would like to do more reading sprints, at least 1 a quarter. The last goal that I have is not a good goal, and I say that because it is completely out of my control. Every other goal that I've mentioned is something that I can do and I can make plans for and all these things, and I cannot control this. And so I usually don't make goals, like numerical goals for my channel, like I want to grow this much, because I can't control it. But this year I did, even though like I may get to the end of the year and be like, why did I do that? I can't control it. But I would love to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. I have a little over 2,000 right now, and every single year my growth has been like really slow in that I've gained like literally 500 subscribers every single year of my channel, which is kind of funny that the growth has been like pretty much the same, I think, every single year. So I would really, really like to have a little bit bigger of growth this year. It doesn't need to be like this insane exponential growth, but it would be really fun if I could hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Again, I can't control that. I do not understand the YouTube algorithm. Sometimes I'll have a video that I'm like, oh yeah, this is like videos I've made in the past and people love this. And so yeah, this is gonna do well. And it like gets no views. And then I'll do a video that I'm like, oh man, I like this video, but like no one's gonna watch it. And it like blows up and I gain a bunch of subscribers from it. So I just never know. So this is like a goal, but not really a goal. It's like a wish, a dream, a pipeline thing. Like, oh, that would be nice, but not like an actual goal. Anyways, those are my thoughts, plans going into the next year of just trying to continue to improve each year and having good balance in my reading life and in my channel life, and to continue to read books that I really love and enjoy and that I'm excited to read, and not feel like, oh my gosh, I have to read this. And so that is really like my main thing that I really want to do next year, is just continue, because I feel like every year the balance gets a little bit better. So hopefully 2025 will be the best year yet. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. What are some goals that you have for reading next year? Do you set a goal of how many books you definitely want to read? Do you like to stretch yourself? Do you like to try to push yourself outside of your comfort zone when it comes to genres or things like that? Or do you just like not make any goals at all? Because I mean, reading is a hobby, so you don't really have to have a goal with it. Like, not everything has to be goal oriented. Sometimes something can just be fun. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me. And I will see you again tomorrow with another 12 Days of Christmas video.